Reverend Beckwith from The Secret.
Yes. Yes, that's how most of you know him. He's also spiritual director and creator and founder of Agape International Spiritual Center, which is an international following. And I went to one of his services in California wanting to, because two friends recommended it. And I went there and was blown away because I heard what I'd wanted to hear my entire life. I heard, but I didn't know I wanted to hear. It's the first time I stood in a church and I can compare it to a church or a enlightenment course or any of that gave me truth, just straight on truth. And because he talked about who we are is the spiritual image and likeness of God. But he talked about this in a way that I could move from being little me trying to get to God or get oneness with God or all that to where that's who I was one with God, having an experience.
That's beautiful. So when you went down and saw the Reverend Michael Beckwith, you got very clear in your own power that God was not somewhere over there, that in that moment you saw oneness with God. Because it's like that. I believe that we have like spirit-centric power, God-centric power. We have that within us. And when you tap into that, that creates such a level of power of who we can be in the world. And when I say power, I'm really talking the power like in power versus force. It isn't force.
Right. No, not at all. They aren't even related, yes. Go ahead.
Right, they aren't at all. It's power. It's who you get to be, being a powerful stand for that which is possible in the world, for that which is to create a world where we are much more empowered, that really works for everybody. Exactly.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, and you know that, and what I loved about that was that my web page is which your friend designed for me it says having a world that works for everyone, and then my name but in Michael's, what he says all the time is having a world that works for everybody. So we just mesh so perfectly because I've been out there, not on mine, because I'm surrounded by people who are attempting to grow and all that stuff. But I never connected in a way that really, I don't know what, empowered me or something. No, but obviously I have a lot of power. I've created a lot of things.
Absolutely. Well, and Leslie, I used to live right down there by Agape Church, and I used to go there often. I used to live down there. It's lovely. And this week I was talking with a friend, and he was telling me about somebody, a religious man that he knew of, and even though he doesn't agree with this man's religion, he said something profound to me. He said, what this man just walks through life with a presence, and that presence is that he knows that the Master walks with him. And as we were talking about this, in whatever, and I've spent some time in Israel, and it's one of my favorite lands, and I didn't go for any religious reason or anything. I went for work and for a friend, but I felt the power there of four different, all these different religions having this epicenter there, like being in Jerusalem. And I spent time at the Wells Wall, and I spent time at all these different religious, important, whatever
like
church
places.
Or whatever church or monument or there were different historical. They're just as Jerusalem is just so speckled with them. So each one, and I witnessed Christians, Muslims, Jewish, all the different religions having their power of their prayer, and I was in the presence of all of them, and I just really saw the power of connecting with spirit, and whatever spirit is to you. And
right,
I think that's really beautiful, and it sounds like that's what we're talking about here, this, connecting to, that oneness with God, that oneness within, and allowing that to be, whatever God is to you. Like Father Michael says, having a world for everyone, making the space for that.
Yeah, and
right.
there's a comment in the chat room right now, and somebody says that that's really why they love the Footprints in the Sand poem. When it says, the years when you have seen only one set of footprints, my child, is when I carried you. Because if we get that each one of us out there, whether it's God or Spirit or Allah or whatever,
Buddha
or Buddha,
right?
It's you, for everybody out there. Get that you have that power within you, and especially now, especially.
Well, see, I think we're gonna. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, especially where the planet is right now. Tap in to that golden power of goodness, because so many people are looking to really tap into their power. That's why I really believe that there are, right now, the coaches and people taking programs, there are people out there. I have a workshop at the end of this month, and we're almost half full, and it's just, there are people that are so wanting to really tap in, because...
And
I love the idea of making space for all.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
For all, for everyone's God, for everyone.
Well,
it's...
Okay.
Go ahead.
Because God, and the differences are that how we define God, that doesn't mean they're different gods. Just wanted to clarify that.
No, it doesn't. Because if you take a look, that's a beautiful point, Leslie. It's such a beautiful point. Because if you take a look at so many of the different, quote, religions, unquote, that go back through our history, they are all so similar.
The
Europeans, yes, all be, whether it's the ancient Egyptians, the Europeans, the American Indians, the Aztecs, such, one cannot deny the similarities they have. And even going back to Atlantis, you kind of started with that. The Atlanteans really developed their internal power to where what was there for them was they got so powerful that, you had a situation where their land disappeared. They just grew and grew and grew. And another interesting comment in the chat room here, which I think is so relative to what we're talking about, because it says that I find it interesting that literature and research on the Gen Y is that they're all about change. The Aryan Age officially begins this year, and the theme is change. And in the election, we saw change. And we're going to see change in, these are interesting times.